how great thou art.
Thank you for the gift of life as we are going to tackle this topic about innovation. Come and be with us. We pray, living and trusting in the mighty name of our Lord Jesus Christ. So we are going to tackle a topic called innovation, the art of innovation. This is a topic that is not so much discussed, but yeah, we are going to tackle it. So I'm called Rodney Badira, the young adult leader, Bonga District. I'm so happy. I also own a company called Funland. In 1 minute, allow me to talk about Funland. We are a multimedia company. When I talk of multimedia, I mean many things, okay? Multi. That is working with students, schools, adults, to introduce the most fun way of doing digital art, IT, and innovation. So we simplify these elements so that any person, anyone, can be part of the change. So I was very happy when I had initially one of the speakers in the morning devotion talk about their experience with technology and the company they created. So we are going to talk about innovation in the simplest form known. Usually, this session takes a few hours, but because we have to do it in 30 minutes, you'll allow me to be a little bit fast, okay? And I also understand that within the audience, we have some elites. Let me see the elites. Raise up your hands. If you're confident that you are an elite, raise up your hand. Yes, we have some elites, and we have those who are transitioning to be what? Elites. So I have to balance. I don't want to focus more on the elite part of it. So for the elites, you might feel like I'm talking basic stuff. Are we together? And for those who are transitioning, you might feel like I'm talking hard stuff. So I just pray that the Holy Spirit can be with us and perhaps we can learn something. So we are tackling innovation. So we just had a song. We just sang a song called How Great Thou Art. I love that song because in the lyrics you read about the art of God, right? So at university, I did a course called Industrial Art and Design. And I'm also happy for my teacher who teaches art and design. So I did Industrial Art and Design. I focused on visual communication. But one of the course units, I remember, art appreciation. Was called what? Art appreciation. So with art appreciation, could get a piece of art, maybe a sculpture, then they tell you to appreciate this piece of art. So within the lyrics of the song, How Great Thou Art, appreciate. So within the lyrics of How Great Thou Art, we try to appreciate the art of God. So you can't separate art with creativity. Are we together? In the beginning, God created, not so? And now we appreciate the art of God. And you cannot separate creativity with innovation. So we are going to fuse some of these three elements to see. So we are looking in the Christian perspective. So when you're talking about innovation, the perspective of, let's say, business, is quite different. But also there are some elements which are really the same. So in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. We see those words in Genesis. And we see that before God created heaven and earth, there was a problem. Okay? There was a problem. And God wanted to come up with a solution. So what did God create first? Who can tell me? What did God create first? What? What did God create first? Light. Okay? So, you see, I'm trying to compress some of this information for you to get it fast as possible. So you see, we Okay, as we proceed with the creation process, we understand that God created light, but later on, he also created me and you, man and woman. So, God started from somewhere. He created light first. Without light, perhaps God couldn't create man in darkness. Not so? So he had to first start from somewhere. So, in the process of innovation, we have to start from step one, and progressively, we see what should we do next. But let us first define what innovation is. So, innovation comes from a Latin word called innovatio. Called what? Innovatio. Okay? Or innovation, whatever you can call it. I-N-N-O-V-A-T-I-O-N. Okay? And this word means creating something new. Are we together? Creating what? Something new. So we see that God created heaven and earth. Perhaps before he did, there was no earth. Perhaps we can agree that there was heaven, but there was no earth. So innovation is all about creating something new. And then back to the beginning. We said that in the beginning, God created light. So I'm going to first talk about a few innovations that have happened in our era. Some of these innovations that have been able to shape our Christian faith, perhaps. I'm going to be brief. So the first innovation happened a few years back, and this was an innovation brought about by a man named Johannes Gutenberg. Okay? This gentleman innovated the printing press. The what? The printing press. So the printing press is like a printer, present-day printer. What does the printer do? It prints. So before the printing press, one had to sell 120 cows just to buy a Bible. Are you together? How many cows? 120. And the reason for that is because in order to get a copy of the Bible, one had to sit for about 2 years just to write the word, the Bible. So they used to handwrite from Genesis to Revelation. Are we together? So the Bibles were reserved for only the rich, but also the printing press. Right now, you and me, we have the what? The Bible. So some of the things we have to understand is that in order for innovation to happen, there must be a problem. Okay? And then we create possible solutions. So the second innovation, which I want to talk about, by the way, I also want to emphasize something. So in most cases, when we talk of innovation, we link innovation with technology. Okay? And most of us Christians, we are scared of technology. Are we together? I don't know. We are scared of technology. Maybe perhaps also some of the sermons we receive help us to get scared. But then, according to some simple research I've made, all technology comes about by the grace of God. Okay? In order to help us hasten his soon return. Are we together? I'll give you an example. When this gentleman brought about the printing press, the first book to be published was the Bible. Are we together? And then the Bible became cheaper and people could read for themselves the Bible. So we shouldn't be scared of technology. The only challenge we have is that when God brings about this technology, we get scared. Okay? And then the devil comes around and says, what can I do with this? Are we together? Because initially, we always want to be the second people or third people to try out technology. So the second form of innovation was the telegram. that was introduced by a gentleman called Samuel Moss. So before the telegram, you couldn't send information. Let's say I'm here and I want to communicate with someone in Kenya. I was required to write a letter, then it goes through all those processes until when it reaches Kenya. Or I could walk to Kenya to deliver my message. But due to some challenges that happened, this gentleman lost, some people say his wife, others say his daughter. He got a gig. He was an artist, fine artist, like my teacher. He was a fine artist, and then he got a gig in a far country. So when he went to do this gig, he was really struggling financially. So when he went to work on this gig, do you know gigs? Do you know gigs? Akalimu akatonotono ka one off. Are we together? Oyinza okuba nga oli engineer ne bagana wano ka gig kaliko akasente. You understand? So yafuna ka gig nga, do you guys understand Uganda? So he got a gig. He had to travel to another country. So when he went there, before he went there, he told his wife that, you know what, we've been struggling, but I think this gig is going to change everything. So the wife believed and blessed this gentleman to go and work on the gig. So when this gentleman was there, he started painting. He was going to paint a portrait of someone. So back then, the world wore cameras. There was no cameras. So someone had to pose for like 6 hours like this. Then they shed him. Are we together? And then they hung him. So he had gone to work on this gig. But then this gig was a little bit longer than he envisioned. So a letter came from this side of the wife that the wife is sick. So the letter was delivered 2 months after it was written. Are we together? When this gentleman got the letter, he wrote back and said, oh, let me come back and see how I can be with you in this trying moment. By the time the letter was received, the woman had died. Are we together? And then the dad writes that she didn't make it. 2 months later, this gentleman receives. And then probably he wanted to go and be part of the burial. By the time he reached, even grass, yes, had grown around the what? The graveyard. So he said, what if someone in real time can transmit a message and it could be received? So Samuel Moss came up with the telegram. So now with the telegram, you could transmit information. And then after the telegram, right now we have televisions, we have telephones, we have radios, we have etc. Are we together? And as the church, and the first, I want to emphasize the point I say that everything comes about by the grace of God. The first text to be transmitted was a verse. Are we together? And the verse is found in Numbers, chapter 23. I've forgotten the verse, but it says, look at what the Lord has made. Amen? So, we see that even though this gentleman was troubled, but the inspiration to come about with this type of technology came from God. But then say technology is from the devil. It's all about all this bad stuff. So I want to challenge you to tell you that some of us are going to miss heaven just because we failed to be creative. We failed to use the tools that the Lord has made. So the last bit of, I said I'm going to talk about 3 innovations that have shaped our faith. The last bit of it is the internet. Okay, the internet came about. Right now we can live stream sermons. We can join broadcasts. We can be part of WhatsApp groups. We can be part of everything. And God has given us all of these things to help us be creative, innovative, in order to spread the gospel really fast. But then you might be hearing some of these things, the telegram, the printing press, and all those things, and you wonder, how can I be part of innovation? You are disconnected. You feel like you don't have the brains to think of some of these things. Okay? Yeah. So I'm concluding because time is up, unfortunately. Yeah. So, as Christians, we have to understand that when God created heaven and earth, he started from somewhere. He started by making light. So when this light came, God could see how bad the form was. Are we together? Without light, perhaps someone couldn't see how bad. And you see, when you see how bad, you start to ask, what can I do? Are we together? So the innovation process, we start from somewhere. Don't think that you wake up in the morning and then you dream of a new gadget like the telegram. Are we together? You start from somewhere. Now you start seeing the gaps and then trying to brainstorm ideas on how to fill these gaps. But one of the things I want to also talk about was when God created man. And then he declared that let's make man in our own image. So, if God is a creator, we are also what? Creators. If God is an innovator, we are also innovators. The only problem and the challenge that we face is that shy away from being creative. I was on LinkedIn. Let me see those who have LinkedIn accounts. Raise up your hand. LinkedIn. It's like Facebook. A few of you. So I was on LinkedIn and I was checked. There's a gentleman who never went to school, but somehow they brainstormed an idea and they use wind. Do you know wind? Yeah. Oh. They use wind, they tap onto wind to create electricity that is supplying the entire village. Are we together? This gentleman never went to school. They brought professors from universities, Oxford, etc., to come and assess. These people are saying, we don't understand this type of technology, but all we know is that it is working. Are we together? So, the only challenge and problem that we are facing is that we have failed to tap into our creativity. Most of us are scared to try out something new. Okay? Most of us are stuck in order. You know, being stuck in order. Guys, okay, a moment. Are we together or I'm a little bit fast? We are together. Do you know order? Order is that process of knowing that, okay, when I wake up, I do this, I brush my teeth, then I go here, I come back here. And some people say, my weekly routine is like this. Are we together? That is called order. At church, most of our sessions, services, have been turned into order. Order of what? Of service, etc. So order is the killer of innovation. Are we together? Take an example. If I had time, I would ask someone who has... We have people who ever brush their teeth in the morning here. Just raise up your hand if you ever brush your teeth. So, guys, I'm going to ask, but you can shout out loud the answer. Which hand do you use to brush your teeth? Do you have someone who is right-handed and they use left to brush their teeth? That is But when I look at, maybe when you read, Ellen White says in her vision, she's taken to other planets. Then she sees some of those people who didn't sin, and they are looking lovely and all those things. So I envision this as a movie. Are we together? But then when I ask an elder, I would want to create some kind of movie like this. It would be nice because it shows reality. Why do I have to watch Avengers, which is playing with my psychology, and it's really taking away so much? The elder was like, for us, we can't do that. You know why? Just the act of pretending to be Ellen G. White, you are lying. Are we together? And then some of the commandments say, do not do what? Do not lie. For you, you're pretending to be Ellen G. White in the vision. Yet you are not Ellen G. White. So we still have people who have such ideologies. Are we together? If we are to compete with the world, we need to create some kind of entertainment that our kids can consume and still learn something. Are we together? How are you going to present this type of sermonettes, of stand-up sermonettes, and you preach for 1 hour? How are you going to compare that to a 1 hour movie full of scenes which are interesting? Are you together? So let us also start to think creatively. So as I'm concluding, I want to share with you the innovation process that we can think about. And this process is something that you all know, and it is called design thinking. I'm sure some of you know this, but I just want to share with you. But I still have 16 minutes, so I shouldn't rush. Not so? So are we still together? Let me hope you guys are not going to come and be like, now, or they say when you get in charm. So I just want to see what can we be able to do. Okay? So innovation first is all about creating something new. But also this something new should be important, should solve a problem. If you are innovative and then you come up with something new and it does not solve any problem, then that is not innovation. So let me challenge your thinking, okay? You see, we have very many youths in our churches, and we have very many adults with a lot of experience, okay? Guys, are we together? How about, now this is an idea. I'm showing you some of the things we can start to think about. How about we create a program, a mentorship program, okay? That can link a junior with a what? With a senior. But then the senior mentors the junior in some of those things that you mentor them, like leadership, like business, like all those things. But also the junior mentors the senior in things to do like technology, social media, and all those things. Are we together? And it becomes a two-way process. In most of the studies we get, the seniors want so much to teach or to impact the juniors, but then there's no information coming from down to top. How about we start thinking of such type of programs where a junior can also mentor a senior? And it's a program, let's say, for 6 months. And then at the end, we assess what has the junior learned, what does a senior now know. So we are going to look a little bit at the design thinking. So being an artist, when I talk of artist, I mean art. Okay, I don't mean music. So being an artist, there's, I would call it an ideology called design thinking. So design thinking is something that can help us to break away from traditional forms of living in the church. Remember, we are all leaders. Okay? We are all leaders. Our objective is to impact the younger generation, but also to help them stay in the church. So Design thinking comes from the process of, you know, designers. If you're a designer, I'll give you an example. If, let's say, someone who designs logos. Do you know logos? Like show up in the city is a what? It's a logo. So the client will come to me, will be like, hey, I have a problem. I need to design a logo. So I'm explaining design thinking from the perspective of a designer. So what I'll first do is to first put myself in the shoes of this person who has given me the gig. Now, right now you understand the gig, okay? Who has given me a job. Then I understand what are their pain points, okay? Then from there, I'll start brainstorming ideas on how to have a perfect logo. Are you together? After brainstorming these ideas, I will make a sample or a prototype. I'll make a sample of a logo which I'll share with this client. The client might say, yes, I like the logo, but you can change this font, but you can change etc. Are we together? Then from there, I work on the changes. Then I deliver a finished what? Logo. So this is the type of perspective that we should use if we are to be innovative. So the first bit of design thinking, I might not go through all the stages, but the first bit of it is called empathizing. Empathizing. At first, you should have empathy. You know empathy? What is empathy in Uganda? Or you know kufune chisa. You should see these young ones. Or you should see your church. You should see your business. Have empathy. So when you have empathy, you put yourself in the shoes of this person facing the problem. Perhaps you might be the person facing the problem. So from empathizing, we do what we call ideating. Right now we've gotten the problem that we are facing this challenge. Now we have to ideate. So the ideation process is sharing ideas. What can we do in order to solve this problem? Okay? So we come up with different ideas. It could be a group of 6 people where you sit down and you do the ideation. So from the ideation, you get one idea which might be outstanding, and then you do what we call a prototype or a sample. Are we together? So when you do a sample of the idea which you ideated, you take it to be tested. Are we together? You take it to be what? To be tested. So from testing, maybe the youths, the church members, the clients will tell you, I think I like the idea, but we can change this and this and this. So out of the feedback you get, you make a final product, an innovation. We should start from the things around us. We should spot the challenges around us. And then we should empathize. You see, God is coming back. We have a few people who are still unaware about Jesus Christ. How do you put yourself in the shoes of these people? Do you have empathy for them? Do you have empathy that these people might all end up in hell? Okay? If perhaps you have the empathy, now, what can you do? I'll end with this story of 2 Adventist young men. Okay? They were stuck in routine. Are you together? Stuck in order. Going to church, you reach, you expect someone to be there on the doors to welcome you. If you don't see them, then that is unusual. Then you enter, lesson, blah, blah, blah. Evening, you go back. So these 2 young men were stuck in routine. They said, no, you have to do something. So they went through the process of design thinking, like which I just mentioned. They said, what can we do? We have very many people on the streets of London who are going to perish. Some of these people are troubled. But for us, we are stuck in what? In order. Not even stuck, but we are enjoying order. So what they did, they brainstormed an idea. Then they bought very large sofa set. Okay? A very what? Sofa set. So what they did, they got this sofa set without even consulting the church. I'm not saying that we should do some of these things without consultation, but I'm just telling a true story. Are we together? Because some of these ideas might seem crazy, and when you maybe perhaps go through the entire, protocol, might get objections. So they say, let us first try out something before we even disclose. So they put the sofa set in a big truck and went in the heart of London, placed the sofa set there. And then they had this postcard that if you feel tired, please come and rest. Okay? It was put somewhere. And for them, one sat and the other person was on the camera filming events. So people were ignoring and all those things. But there was someone who was really tired and then came, sat. Then when this gentleman sat, this one who was one of these young men who was seated, after like 1 minute came closer and was, can I talk to you? Of course. And then someone was filming. So those people are not really so scared of camera. Are we together? Right now, when you come close with the camera to someone, people start shaking and trembling and stammering. Are we together? But then, some of those people are not so scared. So, this gentleman wanted to understand why this person has sat here. The person started explaining some of the troubles, tribulations about family, about how he can't rest. He has to keep pushing every day, but at home, the family is broken. He has no communication because he's also not at home. Okay? The kids miss him, but he can't be with them because he has to look for money. But also the money is not coming because psychologically he's tormented. So, this gentleman creatively did not introduce some of these doctrines, but then was like, how about, have you ever thought of having one day, only one day in a week to rest? Have you ever thought of it? This gentleman was like, I've never thought of it, but perhaps I can't rest because I have to look for money to keep up front. And then this gentleman showed him that if you have one day, you can utilize this day to connect with your family, but also to rest your body. So it was like a spark in this gentleman's eyes, and he was like, oh, I think that can work. So in the process, this gentleman also suggested, what if you pick a Saturday, a day like today, to do that? Okay? So from the entire process, this gentleman handed out some few copies of the Spirit of Prophecy to this gentleman. And when this gentleman went back, his whatever that was being recorded was published on YouTube. And this process continued like this. So this process yielded around 60 souls. Are we together? An initiative of only 2 boys. Because in the process, when people sat here, this gentleman could creatively talk about the gospel and then handed out some publications. Went with emails of these people and then started emailing them, calling them. And testimonies were published on social media. And people on social media could also see this and they could connect with these stories. And was like, I'm also facing the same challenge. If it worked for this gentleman, it can also work for me. So just as we were told of start to evangelize in other perspectives like health, etc. So through the innovation process of design thinking, these gentlemen were able to cut off order, okay? And they were able to yield very many souls to Christ. So my last appeal is, or my question, what are you going to do innovatively? Are you going to look at young people drop out of the church and then you blame it on technology? Okay? Or you are going to think of something. Are we together? You can start with your profession. You can start with your hobbies. Me, I love films. My brother was talking about how he prayed and fasted to break off the chain of watching movies. Me, every day I have to watch a movie. Yeah. But then I'm like, what if we can have Adventist filmmakers who can make movies that are talking about the three angels' message. Instead of consuming these movies, which are taking away some of these things, how about we do this? Right now, in the new curriculum of Master Guide, we see that now they are advocating also for technology, right? How about we start having sessions where we teach our students mobile app development, website development, graphic design, instead of only concentrating on things like tying ropes, not tying. Are we together? Because the world is changing really fast. Back then, we used to survive in the forest, not so? And not tying was so handy. I'm not saying that it should be discredited. I'm just trying to challenge your thinking. How about church boards sit and be like, we are going to have series of learning for ambassadors for mobile app development. And the best app which will be developed will be funded by the church. And we set guidelines that it should maybe solve a problem in our church. It could do etc. blah, blah, blah. There is too much that our kids can do if we can start to tap into their creativity. Are we together? Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. Jangu, can you raise up and give him some good thanks? This man, before you wait, hand over the microphone to my one and only pastor. Microphone is there.
Morning. Good morning, friends. I want to thank our facilitator. In mentorship, it is very much allowed for a junior to mentor a senior. The problem is with us seniors who think that the juniors know nothing. And I've been humbled to learn from my younger brother. It should be a lesson to some of us who are where the Miakameta is showing that you are more old. And be humble to learn, because they have a lot. If my daughter at home can teach me how to use a remote, then you know that even a church member here can have an idea to build you. My brother, I want to tell everyone here that our church makes films. Even some of those Ellen G. White stories. If you were thinking of doing them, just go on. Recently, I think around 2021, I saw a man riding a bicycle, a DMC bicycle, to Ebenezer Radio in Mbale to preach the gospel. Then my design thing is, what if I wrote about this guy and let the world know about him? So I wrote a story. I became a self-styled journalist without going to school. Took the picture of the bicycle and him on Ebenezer Radio. In summary, I want to tell you that this year, he was one of the people who were awarded a branded new motorcycle by AWR.
Wow.
Because I thought he needed to be touched. He needed to be appreciated. And I reported about him. But the other thing you know, that AWR called him for 2 weeks in order for him to dramatize and document his story. So AWR came with these large cameras and started refilming his story, the way he was riding the bicycle, doing evangelism on the bicycle, then later speaking on radio, up to baptism, dramatizing the whole story by AWR International. He was not lying. He was replaying, re-dramatizing what he had already done. So it can be done. And I can tell you, there are many innovations that we are thinking of, but we are limited by some, I don't know, I call them dogmatic thinkers or what, who think we cannot do this. In Mbale Central, we had an innovation of saying, let us cook food and feed the young people who come to church because of food. And some of our church members, the elders, could punch in the stomach of these younger people. So punch them, say, why have you come to eat the church food? But at last, the General Conference Children Ministry identified this story and gave us $1,000 to do children ministry evangelistic campaign. But it was food. So anything can be used to win souls. So just be innovative. No one should stop you. So long as you feel the Spirit is guiding you towards the right way, the rest will understand you later.
Thank you so much. You need the hot 10 or hot 5? He said, hot 1. We are giving hot 1. Raise. You know, this man in May is going to get a parana. You say big amen. So, thank you so much, Isebo. Hot 1. Exercise begin. Thank you so much. May God bless you. You may take your seats. Kato Arthur. They need you right now in the kitchen. Totusibi Angela. Kato Arthur is here. Kindly, when you see Kato Arthur in the kitchen, the other request goes to these people who are selling things here. Kindly, don't go there right now. We have time for this. Let us expect presenters when they are here. Kindly, it's a request. Thank you so much for that. We have our bags, camp out bags for only 30K, only 30,000. Mitwale only. They are available. We have, I think, only like 25. So, place your order now. See me. I want to give some few minutes publishing what? Publishing ministry. It's a kind of a communication as our next presenter is getting ready. You're so welcome, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to talk about publishing ministry in our church. By the names, Kaburi Winfred, a wife to Mr. Kato Joseph Sebasole. I'm a master guide, SYL, and adventure director in my local church. Publishing ministry, I've been in this ministry for over 17 years down the road. And I want to thank the Lord for this opportunity that I'm working with the church. So when we talk about publishing ministry, this is a ministry of literature evangelism. Since here we came for literature or for evangelism, we cannot forget that our church began from paper, from writing. I want to thank my previous presenter here. He ended by giving the testimony of how those boys really did. That they sat there, and when the other people came, they gave them the papers. And found that the gospel began from there, they did their work. And that's how the church began. So I want to call upon you members to come and join this ministry so that we can continue. This church began from paper and will end with papers. So yesterday we had our elder, the other time our pastor, talk about Sabbath school. I want to thank you so much, you're all our customers. Because you have a book in front of you, have the Bibles, have the lessons, you have the discoveries, have everything, all that publishing ministry, all that literature. So you're our supporters. I want to say that what is literature ministry? Who are to do this work? Why literature ministry? You are the people to do this work. You're the people to come into this ministry. Publishing literature ministry, this means of preaching or spreading the gospel through writing. And who is to do this work? It's you. This work is entitled to the church members. We don't welcome any other person who have no job out there to come and ask to work with us. No, it's you, church members, to come and get these books and then you take to anybody who is near you. Yes. I'm going to save my time, sir. Then why do we have to use this ministry? We said that this is a way to reach big group of people. That when we give this book to someone will read, another one will read. We ever heard of our devotion was during COVID time. You read this. Can I see anybody who read that devotion? We saw many testimonies out of literature ministries. Then this is, it helps us to reach big group of people. We can reach people at their convenient time. That wherever you're there, you can preach yourself through reading where you are. This work also is a pastoral work. Do you know that we are the same level with these pastors? And really they recognize us always. So when you count publishing ministry, the way they count us, when we go to retirement, we are the same level with pastors. Why? These pastors, they go and preach as I can talk, but for us, we are silent preachers. For them, they what they preach, like the way I can talk now. For us, we go down, and even easy way to reach people are the places where sometimes the pastors may not reach. We may always organize they call it effort. Some people may not come and attend this effort, but for us to reach them in the big places. I myself have been in the parliament, I've been to other big places. I always work within Kampala, I always work within offices. I have many friends. I met many people. So please come and join us, and we do it. Yesterday we had Pastor Gagwa was talking about how we can do digital evangelism. Remember, this is the easy way you can preach through literature. Have your phones, and then you get pictures of these books, and then you can supply and give many. Sebo, I'm budgeting my time. Then we said that this work also, it trains us to be counselors, it trains us to be teachers, trains us to be doctors. For me, I'm neither of this because I'm a grade 5 teacher. But now wherever when I move around, they call me counselor, they call me a doctor, they call me a teacher, they call me everything out of reading the books. And also trains me. Yeah, this book can train you to be one of those. Because the church has prepared everything for you to evangelize to anybody. Everything is in these books here. We have books on family, we have books for children, we have healthy books, we have parenting books, we have every kind of books in your church. And you people, you know that this church is called this Abasomi. How can I say that? We are the readers. People recognize us as SDA church. This is the church who read. We are the readers. We are the people who develop our families. People respect us wherever we are. But if we cannot utilize the material we have in the church, how are we going to evangelize when we don't use the material? The church has prepared everything for you to do that. Then, as I'm rounding up, I want to just talk about the categories of the books we have. We have the spiritual books, I have healthy books, social, children books, we have it. Then I want to talk about the categories of the literature evangelists we have. We always have the full-time evangelist. A full-time person is the person who really, you surrender and say to me, I'm going to do this, like Mrs. Kato. I'm really a full-time worker. And I'm not regretting at all. I'm very happy because my name is at the general conference. Yes, whenever I do my report here, it goes up to the general conference. So the church recognized me. Can I tell you what? During the COVID time, there's somebody from the general conference sent $30 to every LE wherever we are, and we received it, sir. We received that $30 out of someone's pockets because the LE, the pastors, the silent preachers are there doing the work. But now you people, come and do this work. So we have the full-time, we have the part-time workers. The part-time workers, you can be doing your other work, as my colleagues have been talking about. But you have your bag aside you. You can be going to supply and do other work. We call them that one is part-time. Then we have a student evangelist. I want to put more emphasis on this. Student evangelists, we have service to you. That for you, the church recognized you. When you come, just come and introduce yourself. They can give you the books. You go and sell them, and then you preach, as well as you pay for your school fees. Members, we are working. We are working. You know, people fear pastoral work, but we are working. Mrs. Carter, you don't look so bad. Eh? Yes, I don't look so bad. Yes, but I'm working. Eh? And I want to thank you. You've been supporting there. Come and get these books, and also you do the work there. Then as I'm finishing up, I have some books here. Just show you. As we are going to evangelize, I cannot talk about many of them, but have this book here. This is Seasoned with Love. This book was written by pastors' wives. Pastors' wives all over the General Conference. They do about with the recipe, cookery, and the vegetarian type of diet. Eh? Please come and use these books. Adventists will know you with vegetarian type of diet. Yesterday, Pastor, the one of health, was here talking about how can you do evangelism. We have books for you. We also have book, Means of Healing. Can I someone who know about the Means of Healing book? You've ever read about it? Means of Healing. Now we have it in Uganda. Eh? Many could come to the ABC. Manange wanted these books in Uganda. We have Means of Healing in Uganda. Then I want to talk about this set of the books. I'm going to talk it as a set. This set of the book here, one of them is on stress and anxiety. This one comes under mental health. I remember now those days before, people from Botavica came to my church and want to promote all about mental health. Many people are disturbed. This stress is something so dangerous. So we have a doctor here, Gilbert, produced some books here. We have this set. This is stress and anxiety, depression. After this, you come to depression. From depression, someone gets the headache. And then out of headache, you develop diabetes. You see? So you can preach using these books. Help someone who is suffering with that. Then I want to talk about parenting. We have so many books on parenting. This is Mad Parenting by Nancy Van Pell. May I see people who love Nancy's books? Yes, she died 4 years back, but she left so many books in print. Please, Nancy produced this book here. We have family book. Many of them pass by my table, and we have this. Then I want to look at these books here. These are dangerous books. Sometimes I can say that dangerous. But people with the schools, families, have this book. We have a young man, young woman. This book here talk about sex education. Can you repeat with me? Sex education. Yes, I learned that from Mama Waiswa. You repeat it, sex education. Yes, we fear even to say it out. Eh? Yes, we have one publisher told that that's why they produce these books. People in Uganda here and in South Africa, we fear to talk about sex education to our young ones. Eh? Members, the church has produced these books. You get this book to him or her. And then we talk about this. People have schools. Have this in your libraries. People will read and know it because the nature demands them to know all about it. But we cannot talk about it, including me. Even in my family, you can't say to my girls that, hey, this, you get this. This is a Senga, auntie. In your family, have them. Then as I'm almost winding up, we have this is here, health and this is a health and strong. This is a nutritional guide for mothers, kids, and adolescents. Can you preach to people? Can you help people? These are mothers who have kids inside up to adolescent age. There's manual for them here. So come and use this book for your family well-being. Then as I'm concluding, I want to challenge you members that we need to have these books. In our churches, we have departments. People of Sabbath school, evangelism, education. What kind of material are you using in your local churches? And then I want to thank so much. Whoever visited my table there. Please, I'm grateful. Thank you for supporting. I want to thank so much. I want to thank you so much. And I want to thank the organizers also. And I have a testimony as I'm finishing. This testimony here, I have my friend. He works with the prison ministry. I will not mention this friend. You know, L is always have to give testimony wherever we are because we are pastors who go there and see how things go. But this man here, he was my client for like 4 years back. So he bought many, many books. Now the very last one, he bought a book, Great Controversy. And as you always know that Great Controversy is a good book, who preaches and this knocks on the head. That's how people say it. But after reading that book, he's a big man in prison ministry. Then he was puzzled. He was puzzled. Then said, Mrs. Kato, I want to meet you. This is the big man. Mrs. Kato, please, Mrs. Kato, I have to have a talk with you. Said, yes, I will come, sir. I will talk. But give me more books, more books, more books. Mrs. Kato, I want to talk to you. Then I said, it is now becoming serious. I said, now, the ball is your side. Even though you take me to your home, let Mr. Kato sit there, but have my word with you. Said, I will not afford to take this man at my home. Then I went to Pastor Obama. Pastor Obama was my director by then. Hey, Pastor Obama, I have my client. He wants to talk to me, but I can't sit. Hey. I said that, okay, we organized Pastor Obama. Then I connected him. And then he came at the union. They start with Pastor Alwama. He came with so many questions out of that book. So he wanted to get the answers. You see how these people can preach themselves through reading. Then he asked that, Pastor, I've come here with no any other question, but I want to know, why are you people not praying on Sunday? And this woman here, she's a friend of mine, but brought me many books, but there's one book I read, Great Controversy. I want to know more about Saturday. And you know what the pastor did? Up to now, we are progressing, but he told me that he's no longer going to any other church. And he is very angry with the Sunday goers. You see, he has gone far. So there are many that I may not reach because I've visited many have got these books, but I want to thank the Lord. So thank you so much for your praying for us always. I know wherever you need us, I'm praying forever. Go and preach the word of God. You're praying to me and my friend. May God bless you.
Thank you so much. So you will have to read the books. Read books as an Adventist. I've liked one book. Which book? Thank you. We are breaking for a short break. 5 minutes only. Kindly, when 5 minutes are done, be here. Mr. DJ will give us some small music. Then when you hear the hymn book starting, choristers doing their role, enter the tent. May God bless you. Rwenzori people.
Those of Rwenzori, follow me where our guests do.